My sister labeled my adopted daughter as worthless and anticipated me to finance her wedding, so I severed ties and demonstrated what worthless truly means. Posted by epic_fail_whale. I, 32F, am the firstborn of 5 siblings and have shouldered the responsibility of family guardian for as long as my memory serves. I supported our parents until their departure, and truthfully, it's draining. Father succumbed to brain cancer 3 years ago, and it was devastating to witness his decline over time. Mother passed away peacefully in her sleep after an extended battle with breast cancer earlier this year. Needless to say, I despise cancer. As the eldest, I naturally evolved into the de facto parent. I don't object because I cherish my siblings, and it's become my signature trait to be the protective older sister to friends and family alike. I'm essentially the family counselor, and I provide financial assistance to my relatives. I don't mind since I'm employed in the tech sector, have a side gig creating art, and inherited property and assets from mom and dad several years back. I adopted my cousin Charlie's, 45M, child, whom I'll refer to by her nickname Decker, after my cousin was imprisoned for ending Decker's mother's life in an alcohol and substance-induced rampage. It was a tumultuous year of grieving, documentation, and legal proceedings, but the adoption was completed when Decker turned 5. Now she's a thriving, healthy 13-year-old who addresses me as mom. She's been receiving counseling since I was legally permitted to enroll her, as she witnessed her mother's passing. I couldn't be more proud of her resilience. She's my precious girl, my anchor, my entire universe. I literally call her that, my universe. Fast forward to my sister Clara's, 30F, forthcoming wedding. Initially, I was ecstatic for her, and when she requested me to be her maid of honor, I wept with joy and proposed that my wife Honey, BF, and I would cover the expenses, with Honey's consent, naturally. However, during a bachelorette dinner I organized, she made a cruel remark about my daughter, branding her as worthless and suggesting I shouldn't have taken her in. I gazed at her, asking for clarification. She stated it wasn't as if I was meant to have children, being married to another woman. Then she chuckled and persisted, claiming Decker is probably damaged and difficult to handle. I couldn't comprehend where this was originating from. Decker is the most kind-hearted child alive. Sure, she's a teenager, so occasionally she can be challenging or defiant, but when I say she is my entire universe, I mean it wholeheartedly. She transformed our house into a home. She smiles readily, expresses emotions openly, and possesses emotional intelligence I wish I had. She consistently inquires, "How are you doing?" and genuinely means it, willing to listen to others. But she's damaged and worthless? I refused to join in the laughter with my sister and her friends. Instead, I remained motionless, stunned by disbelief. I believe she sensed my distress because she swiftly changed the subject. I announced my departure, covered the bill including 3 additional rounds, and returned to my family's embrace. The following day, my sister arrived at my doorstep in a fury, berating me for leaving and withdrawing after paying for those 3 rounds. She demanded a do-over, insisting I had ruined the entire weekend by failing to appreciate her humor. Honey, whom I had naturally informed about the incident, requested my sister to repeat her exact words about our daughter. My sister declined, persistently referring to her as Charlie's child. Struggling to contain my emotions, I informed my sister that I wouldn't contribute a single dollar to her wedding expenses, and although I'm currently supporting her rent until she relocates with her fiancé, I would neither participate in nor finance the wedding of someone who views my child as worthless. In truth, I was prepared to unleash my fury, but Honey helped me maintain my composure. My sister exploded with rage, hurling the sparkling water we'd offered at me, screaming, "How am I supposed to pay for this?" I responded that she had over a year to save money. She then stormed out, violently pushing Honey aside in the process, and proceeded to ignite chaos in our sibling group chat. My other siblings are divided. Some believe I'm overreacting by withdrawing the wedding funds, while others agree that my sister crossed an unforgivable line and needed this wake-up call. Now I'm torn about my sister. I do love her, and she's clearly distressed by this situation, but I can't shake the conviction that protecting my daughter takes precedence. Edit. I attempted to respond to everyone but eventually exhausted my emotional reserves. I shared this post with my wife, and I'm preparing myself for tonight's conversation with Decker. We need to ask if her aunt has displayed any cruel behavior towards her directly. I'm desperately hoping she'll be confused by our questions and remain unaware of this storm. I cherish my universe. I want her to forever maintain her bright, fun-loving, encouraging spirit. I wish she never discovers her aunt's words. I messaged my sister asking if this truly represents her view of me, my wife, and our daughter, or if it was merely alcohol-induced foolishness amplified by embarrassment. Regardless, I want her nowhere near Decker for the foreseeable future. I feel completely lost. I never anticipated this aspect of parenthood, and there's no manual for navigating these waters. What on earth should I do? I'll need all the luck I can gather for tonight's conversation. Update 2 days later. I'm attempting to keep this brief. Honey and I took Decker to the local Oktoberfest celebrations. She had an incredible time, crafted items, danced to music, enjoyed non-alcoholic beer in a pint glass, and generally reveled in the festivities. During the drive home, my wife broached the long-anticipated topic. We inquired about her feelings regarding Grandma's passing, then discussed how everyone processes grief differently. We asked if Mama, me, or Mommy, Honey, had ever caused her pain. She mentioned a few instances when we'd been short-tempered or denied her requests, like attending a late-night party, but nothing beyond that. Then we asked about Clara, and she grew silent. Honey exchanged a meaningful look with me, but since I was driving, I simply said, "You can tell us anything, you know that." She became withdrawn. When we arrived home, I embraced Decker and retreated to the den. About 2 hours later, my wife descended the stairs and informed me, "Decker's in bed but not asleep. You should talk to her." When I asked why, she simply replied, "Decker's ready to talk about it." So I went upstairs. Decker was prepared for bed, wearing her pajamas and reading. I settled on the edge of her bed and asked how she was feeling. She simply responded, "Mom told you, huh?" I assured her I knew nothing. Then Decker revealed that Clara makes her uncomfortable and had said hurtful things when my wife and I weren't present. Clara had called her the lost puppy and the stray, and once told her directly, "You're not real family." She also claimed that once Honey and I had a real child, we would abandon her. I cannot articulate the fury, the absolute and complete rage that consumed me as my daughter broke down, confessing she maintains perfect behavior and obsesses over grades to prove she's worthy of love, worthy of keeping. I summoned my wife, and we sat Decker down to tell her she's the greatest blessing that's ever entered our lives. We assured her that even if we have more children, she is our firstborn, and our love for her is immutable. I wept as I held her, telling her she's my entire universe and nothing will ever change that. She saved us, and I'm immensely proud of her, of us, and all we've become. I assured her my love for her is eternal, and her mom feels the same way. We love her more than life itself, and that will never change. Then I explained that Auntie was wrong, that Auntie harbors jealousy towards her, jealous of how much we love her. Auntie needs help, but we can't provide that help, so she won't be around for a while. Decker requested we stop speaking to her like a child, so I was direct. "She's my sister and I love her, but you're my daughter and I love you more." I told her my sister was wrong and cruel. I apologized that she hadn't felt able to confide in her mom or me sooner but assured her she can always come to us, anytime. We will always choose her, always. Decker inquired if it was her fault that I despise Clara, and I explained that hatred is a choice. I don't hate Clara, I do love her, but sometimes loving someone means correcting their behavior. Actions have repercussions. My daughter grew quiet and handed me her phone. Clara had been sending her terrible messages since leaving my home. I can't even transcribe them because they fill me with rage, but one message stood out. Clara texted my teenage daughter, "Go tell your so-called mom like a snitch and prove me right." I captured a screenshot and forwarded it to myself. Decker drifted off to sleep around midnight, and my wife and I retired to bed. I messaged my sister with the screenshot and wrote, "You enter my home as my sister and treat my child like this? Mom and Dad would be ashamed of you. This is not how you treat any child, let alone your own niece. I have cherished you since my earliest memories. I know you weren't raised to treat children so cruelly, but as of now, you are banned from my home. You will not communicate with or approach me, my wife, or my child. I will provide the money for October, Clara, but starting November, that's your responsibility. I will no longer offer assistance. I'm sorry this breaks my heart, but you've crossed a serious and unforgivable boundary. Decker is my daughter, and I am her mother. Do not test me on this, and let me be clear, if you ever attack my family again or contact my daughter, I will pursue legal action. From today forward, we are low contact. If you attempt to escalate this situation, it will become no contact. If you need clarification, here are resources to help explain it. I love you." Second update 2 days later. I honored my promise to my wife to wait before acting. She knows me best and recognized I was ready to take drastic measures. As it turns out, I needn't have worried. Let me clarify a few minor details and misconceptions I've encountered. I am the eldest of the siblings. Mom and Dad had been battling illness for years, so to those who think I've recently assumed control as some power play, no. I've managed their finances, maintained their properties, and handled their affairs long before either passed away. Dad simply wasn't mentally capable after a while, and Mom never had an aptitude for such matters. Yes, I primarily raised my siblings. Both parents operated businesses and frequently worked 7-day weeks. I prepared meals, assisted with homework, and handled various responsibilities. I recognize this isn't typical, and I know some will criticize my parents, but they simply didn't know better. I won't harbor resentment for any of it, and although it affected me negatively in some ways, it also allowed my siblings to feel secure. I take pride in being able to protect them and support them during their youth so they didn't experience what I did. And yes, I also attend therapy. I was the primary caregiver for my parents when they passed. The reasons are complex, but essentially, Dad became verbally abusive near the end, and Mom grew severely depressed and withdrawn. They were challenging to manage even on good days. I hold no ill towards them, but there it is. My siblings avoided them, Dad was hurt and altered his will, Mom followed suit. For those suggesting I'm rewarding Clara by covering this month's expenses and that I'm not a genuine mother or a poor mother for loving my daughter's tormentor, I envy your black and white worldview. Rent is due today, and the money was already scheduled for transfer via automatic banking. Clara isn't being rewarded, she's merely remaining housed, but from now on, she's on her own. Clara and I used to share a close bond, but she grew distant around the time I adopted Decker. I didn't fully understand why, just that the new dynamic presented challenges for her. I know she harbors hatred for Charlie and considers him beyond redemption. She struggled significantly with losing our cousin-in-law, Decker's biological mother, as they were very close, so I assume her issues stem from this. I inherited the majority of everything, though my siblings received substantial amounts. 3 received all but one of the family businesses, and everyone got trusts. Clara spiraled after Mom's passing and experienced a mental health crisis before we secured help. She traveled, drank, and gambled away her entire inheritance, a story for another time. I didn't have time to process and wait until today to make a measured decision regarding my sister. Clara has fabricated a narrative that I'm jealous she found a loving partner and that I'm withholding our parents' money from her. She claimed I was the one abusing Decker, diminishing her worth and telling her she isn't my real daughter. That facade crumbled when I sent my text a couple of days ago. Yesterday, Clara appeared on my doorstep, weeping and pleading for entry, but my wife and her friends were inside, and I made it clear I don't want her near my family after she emotionally abused my daughter and physically assaulted my wife. I warned her to leave or I would contact law enforcement to remove her. I was planning to call them anyway since I had explicitly told her never to come to our home again, and there she was. There's a reason I communicated this via text, so I could demonstrate clearly to authorities that she knew she was unwelcome. Clara began begging, saying she would apologize to Decker, that she was intoxicated and distressed and made mistakes. I could tell she was under the influence of something. I told her it's not a simple mistake to torment a traumatized teenager and make her feel unloved and unwanted by her own family, and to message her that she's worthless and disposable. What the hell? I became enraged and raised my voice. I don't recall when I started shouting, but I did. I simply lost control. You're a heartless, awful, self-centered brat, spoiled beyond belief to think this would all just disappear, that you're entitled to the money my wife and I earn, the money our parents left us, after everything you've done. You need professional help, and I am done being your endless resource. You never hurt my child. You're fortunate I have enough self-restraint to keep my hands to myself, and even luckier that Honey isn't out here because she certainly wouldn't. Clara struck me across the face and called me a bitch and a traitor, saying I chose that demon spawn of a child over her, that I loved Decker more than my own real family and betrayed her. Honey must have been near the door because before I could make a terrible decision, she pulled me inside, told my sister she had 60 seconds to leave, and slammed the door shut. Clara departed quickly, but we still notified the police and provided the footage from our security cameras of the incident, as well as the text messages from our phones. Clara went berserk over text, sending me horrible messages, concluding with hoping I would end my life so she could celebrate. Absolutely unhinged, awful things like that. I blocked her, uploaded every piece of evidence to a Google Drive folder, and shared the link in the sibling group chat and with Kevin, her fiancé. Then I collapsed and cried until I was physically ill, before Decker returned from practice. I maintained my composure for her and ensured she completed her homework, then retreated to the den and called my aunt, Decker's biological grandmother, to explain what happened. My aunt informed me that Clara is reviving her conspiracy theory that I'm harming Decker, and warned me to be cautious because she suspects Clara is experiencing some sort of mental breakdown and might do something dangerous. Honey and I have spent today working on obtaining a protective order against her, ensuring Decker's school knows only we are authorized to collect her, and consulting with a lawyer because I believe legal action is necessary. I informed my eldest brother that Clara needs help and asked if he could check on her, as she might be as much a danger to herself as she is to us. He grew quiet and said, "Can you handle this? This drama is excessive, and I'm occupied." I was so shocked I just blurted out, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?" Before hanging up. My other sister is now here helping me manage this situation. My other brother has gone to check on Clara but says he will only verify she hasn't harmed herself. Beyond that, she can face the consequences of her actions. Kevin called me and begged me not to involve the police with Clara. He revealed she's been struggling severely, battling alcoholism and stealing his medications. He's trying to get her help but lacks the funds for bail or legal assistance if she's arrested. I told him it's too late, law enforcement has been notified, and he needs to get her into some form of rehabilitation. He requested our help to finance a facility he was considering, and I told him to keep her away from me and my family. He began crying and accused me of being a terrible sister, saying I don't care about Clara and her struggles, that she's just lost while he's drowning trying to prevent her from self-destructing. I didn't respond after that and have just been sitting at home waiting for the police to call back. I feel wretched and awful because no matter what action I take now, it will never feel right. I was supposed to protect them all and handle everything, and now my sister is this unstable person determined to destroy my life while my brother displays alarming indifference to it all. I'm accustomed to being the one who holds the family together and manages situations, but I don't feel capable of managing anything anymore. What has my life become? Third update 2 months later. Too exhausted for formalities, so if you want the background, it's in my account. I think I just desperately need to write this out. We ceased contact with my entire side of the family about a month and a half ago, except for my other sister, not Clara. Decker has been attending therapy, and frankly, so have I, and Honey too, both individually and in bi-weekly couples counseling sessions. Much has changed. I hadn't realized how profoundly the abuse I endured from my uncle, Decker's biological father, affected me. His reaction to Decker never bothered me or truly impacted my emotional state, but my mother forcing me to forgive him and be courteous when he was present did. It's always been that way. I was the eldest, so I turned the other cheek until I had no cheeks left, then I turned the old ones. I was never allowed to express negative emotions or anger. This situation with Clara stirred up many buried issues, and Honey and I began experiencing problems. She noticed how reserved I tend to be, and even with her, I struggle to express my needs or show displeasure. I shut down or deflect. It's difficult to learn these things about yourself when your world is crumbling. Clara was arrested for assaulting me and ended up completing a month-long mental health program instead of receiving a conviction, so her record remains clean. It was challenging cutting her and the others off. My other sister has been keeping me informed about everything. Clara was released a while ago. She's been attempting to contact me through every possible channel, new phone numbers, email, Facebook, even TikTok. She's sent numerous letters. I'm exhausted because I hate severing ties with everyone. It's incredibly isolating, having always had my siblings around and now suddenly having only one sister. It feels profoundly lonely. I focus on Decker and Honey. Honey seems happier overall. She's dancing in the kitchen again, shows more affection, and is more enthusiastic about going out and doing things. Decker is also happier. We've shifted our focus from grades to praising her kindness, determination, and other qualities. She's more open with me particularly, discussing crushes and friends more freely, sharing the intricate details of teenage life. It's quite endearing. I'm not doing so well, but my family is safe and happy, which is what matters. Clara's fiancé Kevin contacted me 2 days ago. Clara has been released and has been out for about a week, but she still has outpatient rehabilitation to complete. Kevin says she's encouraged to have family support. He says she isn't doing well. She's started discussing self-harm and confided in him that the same uncle who abused me also abused her. He's imploring me to speak with her and help her through this. He keeps reminding me of how she was before all this and how close we were. Calling what we had close may be incorrect because, based on what I'm learning, our relationship was toxic from the start. I was an enabling sister to a manipulative and narcissistic one. I maintained my position and consulted Honey, who agrees I should maintain no contact and block Kevin, simply relying on my other sister for updates. But I can't help feeling guilty. I wish Clara well, but I can't risk opening the door even slightly and endangering my family's well-being. I think I just feel alone. I know I can't have her in my life anymore, it just hurts. Sorry for the delay in updating, and to those who have been gentle or at least firm but fair in their private messages, I thank you. There was never a manual on how to be a good wife or mother, and I have lived an existence of feeling perpetually out of my depth. I appreciate the support.